Good evening. Thanks for joining us for the Wednesday edition of Source 16 News at 10. I'm Tammy Hancock. A local utility company is returning a favor by lending aid to our northern neighbors hit by a blizzard of historic magnitude that is being called the Blizzard of 2011. Pinnaroll Electric spokesman Brent Gilkey says in a release that local electric crews left this afternoon to assist Norris Electric Cooperative in Newton, Illinois, to restore service to more than 4,000 of their members who are without electricity. Just like when the 2009 ice storm left thousands of Pinnaroll Electric customers in the dark, cooperatives are pulling together to send aid to our neighbors to the north. Gilkey says, quote, "Our job would have been much more difficult without the help of other cooperatives during the ice storm of 2009. He adds, "We want to offer the same help to the people of Illinois." Pinnaroll sent 8 linemen, 2 digger trucks, 2 bucket trucks, and 2 four-wheel drive pickup trucks. In addition, Gilkey notes 2 of Pinnaroll Electric's contract crews were sent to help restore power in Dayton, Ohio. Mayor Dan Kemp told council members last night that huge populations of blackbirds, starlings, and robins are creating a nuisance in several Hopkinsville residential neighborhoods. However, he noted that city contract vendor McGee Pest Control has been using noise-making devices to disrupt their habits. Source 16 spoke to Mark McGee today about the kinds of devices his pest control company is using to help with the roosting problem.
If we use a little 22 caliber launch pistol to fire little rockets into the sky that are similar to fireworks. They're called bird bangers and screaming sirens. We also are going to use propane cannons that will fire a loud concussion noise that is very effective. We haven't used those for the past 3 weeks, but we've gotten approval right now to use those again, and we're going to employ those.
He also talked about which areas in town have the worst roosting problems.
Mainly there's a problem down the Cox Mill Road corridor, if you will, on both sides of the road and over south to the Givens area, subdivision area.
City Administrative Officer Glenn Abey says that even though the devices are often loud and disturbing, it's currently the most effective and humane force against the birds. Christian County Extension Agent for Horticulture Kelly Jackson says, quote, "Dispersing bird roosts takes time and using scare tactics are the best offense, but will probably take at least 30 minutes every weeknight to break a pattern." City officials are urging residents to be patient and understand the effort to deter any potential health-related issues caused by the massive bird population. A Hopkinsville man has been sentenced to life in prison for killing his mother last August. 34-year-old Michael Johnson admitted to violating an emergency order of protection, which made his case eligible for the death penalty. But due to his plea deal, he will serve 20 years of his life sentence before he is eligible for parole. On August 23, 2010, 54-year-old Deborah Johnson's body was found on the back porch of her Schaefer Street mobile home by police during a welfare check. Police found and arrested her son Michael later that night at the Holiday Inn on Fort Campbell Boulevard. According to an autopsy report, Ms. Johnson died of asphyxia by compression for an inability to breathe. Wintry weather this morning in Texas forced former Commander-in-Chief George W. Bush to cancel his book signing at Fort Campbell just hours before he was to appear. Soldiers and their families waited patiently in line for more than an hour at the local Post Main Exchange for what was supposed to be the former president's second book signing since he released his best-selling memoir, Decision Points, in November. Source 16 spoke to Captain Richard Anderson about how he felt about the cancellation.
I'm not too concerned about the time. I'm usually up at this time anyway, but as are most of the people in line here, but a little disappointing. You know, we know a lot of people came through the last couple of days, getting the books and getting their tickets. It's disappointing, but at the same time, it's understandable. You know, he can't control the weather, and it is what it is.
Bush's memoir focuses on key decisions he made during his presidency, which include sending thousands of troops to Afghanistan and Iraq. Fort Campbell officials announced late this afternoon that the former president's book signing has been rescheduled for Wednesday, February 16th. 8 months after a 39-year-old Hopkinsville man was shot and stabbed at his apartment, police have arrested one of 3 individuals in connection to the crime. Hopkinsville police arrested and charged 21-year-old Shalisha Settles of Hopkinsville with first-degree assault. Settles was taken into custody on the strength of a warrant this morning around 1:25 at a home on West 7th Street. Around 11:30 on the morning of May 22, 2010, police reported that 2 masked and armed assailants, one of which was Settles, entered the apartment 40, building 102 of Laurel Cove Apartments and demanded money from the safe of 39-year-old Antonio Burris. The warrant says Settles was able to get into the apartment because her younger sister was already inside and had left the door unlocked. Police say a third female armed with a box cutter also entered the apartment and a scuffle ensued. Settles' younger sister reportedly suffered a laceration to the inside of her right wrist, and Burris suffered 2 gunshot wounds, one in his right leg and another in his groin, before he disarmed the assailants. The 2 assailants then fled the scene in a maroon Chevy Malibu. Both the female and Burris were transported to Jenny Stewart Medical Center, where she was treated and released, and Burris was flown by Aerovac to Vanderbilt Medical Center in Nashville, where he was treated and recovered from his gunshot wounds. The warrant states all 3 participated in the assault, but to date, Settles is the only individual to be arrested in connection to the crime. Motivating our nation's students, former professor, actor, author, economist, and pop culture icon Ben Stein says is lacking in today's schools.
People just don't bother to learn nowadays, and the problem is extremely concentrated in the African American and Hispanic community, in which high school dropout rates are far, far higher than they are in the Caucasian white community.
The celebrity gave a lecture as part of the presidential lecture series at Murray State University yesterday. The recognized top economist also spoke about the state of the economy and says it's reviving with corporate profits and stock markets being up, but says employment and the housing market will continue to suffer.
I think we're entering a new world in which people who are manual workers are just going to have a very hard time being employed for a good long while, because there just aren't that many jobs for unskilled manual workers unless housing recovers tremendously. And there doesn't seem to be much sign of that happening. And housing does not seem to be recovering largely because there is such a huge inventory of foreclosed and houses and homes about to enter foreclosure.
Other former keynote speakers in Murray's presidential lecture series include Desmond Tutu, Richard Norton Smith, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., among others. Hopkinsville Mayor Dan Kemp recognized several local firefighters during last night's regular city council meeting. Kemp first recognized retiring Battalion Chief Johnny Ezel for his 20 years of dedicated service, and then recognized Michael Workman as the new battalion chief, who has been with the department since 1994. Meanwhile, Mayor Kemp recognized the promotion of Fire Captains Elmer Green, who has also been at the fire department since 1994, and Joseph Kurt Williams, who was hired in 1999. Kemp also recognized the promotion of 2 fire lieutenants, Doc Knight, who was hired in 2000, and William Pyle, who has been with the department since 2004. The firefighters were then officially pinned with their new ranks by friends and family members. Kemp was scheduled to recognize the fire department secretary, Kathy Osteen, but she was unable to attend due to an illness. The city of Oak Grove is in the beginning stages of building a new emergency medical services building. Last night, council members approved a land acquisition directly off I-24, exit 89 during an executive session. Land acquisitions take place so the property value will not go up when a city is looking at purchasing land. Now that the acquisition has been approved, the city will contact the property owners in order to purchase their land. The council also approved the purchase of a new police cruiser and a request from Hopkinsville Christian County Chamber President Carter Hendricks in supporting Christian County Cares 2015. A second reading of amending the alcohol regulations was also approved, giving Oak Grove bars the option to extend their alcohol sales for another hour. Fort Campbell's 4th Brigade Combat Team, the Currahees, added a couple of military working dogs last month to help seek and find improvised explosive devices and bomb-making materials in Afghanistan. According to Fort Campbell officials, the canines arrived January 13th and will remain with the Currahees until the end of their deployment. Sergeant Nicholas Kozorowski says, quote, "The dogs require some special attention, but their needs are not that much different from a regular soldier. Overall, military officials say the benefits of having dogs with the units far outweigh the challenges they create. Task Force Currahee plans to add 31 dog and handler teams this spring. Now here is Hopkinsville Christian County Crime Stoppers Coordinator Paul Ray with the featured fugitives of the week.
This week, police need your help locating two wanted fugitives.
Police are looking for 44-year-old John Milton Campbell, who's wanted for absconding probation. Campbell is a white male who stands 5 feet, 10 inches tall and weighs 230 pounds. His last known address was the 900 block of J.P. Campbell Road. Police are also looking for 24-year-old John Mann Jr., who's wanted on multiple warrants. Mann is a white male who stands 6 feet tall and weighs 195 pounds. His last known address was the 3600 block of Velma Drive.
If you know where police can locate these wanted fugitives, and we've got cash waiting for you. Pick up your phone now and call our tips line at 887-TIPS. If your information leads to an arrest, Crime Stoppers will pay you a cash reward. And remember, we will never ask your name, and you will not have to appear in court. Well, this week's Fugitive of the Week, I'm Officer Paul Ray for Crime Stoppers.
Tonight's Powerball jackpot is $35 million and Friday's Mega Millions jackpot is $12 million. You can take a look at the past winning numbers and check out all the different chances to win by visiting the Kentucky Lottery's website, kylottery.com.